City Council meeting for Tuesday, June 21st. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could all rise for Pledge Allegiance. Doing roll call, all council members are present, minus Councilman Collison. He did call in and is excused for the evening. Any public comment at this time? Step up to the podium. State your name and address for the record, if you would, sir.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Bowen. I live at 610 North Brookview Lane Southwest here in town.
What can we do for you, Mr. Bowen?
Well, I want to talk about roofing. After a couple of hailstorms that we've had, it's come as an issue for me, and I know a bunch of other people in my neighborhood in particular, as well as probably the rest of the surrounding area. So I lived in Isani for the last 5 years or so, and during that time we've had 2 storms that have come through that have required roof replacement for just about everybody around my neighborhood. And Mayor, I think you live right behind me, actually. I live on North Brookview.
Yes, sir, I do.
And I noticed, during those 2 events, it seems like everybody around us were getting roof replacements, and we all went with the same asphalt roofing material. And time after time, everybody does the same old thing again, and time after time, a hailstorm comes through, and we're doing very expensive, very inefficient roof replacements. So after this last time, I started looking around, and I noticed metal roofs are becoming very common. And after dealing with ice dams in a house I lived in Connecticut, and then dealing with that again, the idea of a roof that can't leak through updrafts in the construction is really appetizing to me as a homeowner, and as well as for my insurance company who's tired of replacing these things. So, in general, right now, the city ordinance requires that roofs be constructed of asphalt composition, shingle, tile, crushed rock, or similar roofing material, which means metal roofs aren't allowed. But compared to asphalt, metal is, they cannot leak through ice dams, so water cannot back up through them, which is a safety improvement because homeowners were not jumping up on the roof to shovel off or scrape off ice and snow if it happens to build up. They can last as long as about 100 years. A lot of them are UL Class 4 hail resistant, which means that a lot of us homeowners would qualify for an insurance discount if we get them, as well as not having to deal with hassle of replacement. The options with exposed fasteners are a little bit more expensive than asphalt, but they're not bad, and a lot of us homeowners would love the opportunity to take advantage of that. I'm hoping this will be the last roof I have to replace, because I need one after the hailstorm that came through back in May, which is what brings me through here tonight. And the city, in general, seems to know the benefit of metal roofs because we're underneath one. City Hall uses a metal roof. So I'm hoping that we can have some kind of adjustment or allowance to the zoning ordinances that would allow me to replace my roof and others in the city who want to with metal roofing material.
I'd have to ask Stephanie on that. Is that a true statement?
Yes, it is a true statement. He did read right directly from our residential special regulations, which do not allow for a metal roof. It is actually on our list of ordinance adjustments to make in the coming year. So
Wow.
This is kind of propelling it forward. Most of the area communities are allowing metal roofs. They've come a long way in the last few years. Technology is continuing to improve with metal roofs. And we'd like to have specific regulations for what type of metal. But
I think we should visit that sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. I think that metal roofs are, in the last 5 years have become more and more popular for that reasons. I thought it had to be, the only stipulation I ever seen on anything was it had to be, if you built a shed, it had to match your house, and I didn't know that was stipulated that we had to use asphalt. So, yeah, absolutely. I think we should need to revisit that sooner than later. I don't know if you gentlemen are in agreement, but as far as I'm concerned, we should be looking at changing that right now,
Yeah, let's put it on the next committee of the whole.
okay,
or next agenda or whatever.
council agenda, it requires a posting of 10 days prior. And so we could add it to the July 5th so that people
Yep.
could get starting making changes to their.
Yep.
roofs.
Post it.
If I would've known that prior to that, we could maybe have gotten this on there sooner, but no, I don't see any reason with it.
It may have to go through planning commission first. We'll double check on all the stipulations since it is a zoning ordinance, but,
Invite Mr. Bowman.
okay.
Bowen, sorry.
I would absolutely show up.
I appreciate the education, Mr. Bowen, so, thank you.
Absolutely.
And
I
we'll,
appreciate-
I appreciate a guy that uses roof and appetite in the same sentence, so.
thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Any other public comment? None at this time. I know we do have a addendum to the agenda, Ms. Wood?
Yes, we do. Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have 2 consent agenda items to add. One of them would be L5, a resolution approving the perpetual easement for the Cambridge Isanti Bike Walk Trail, and L6, resolution authorizing a reduction in the letter of credit for Fairway Greens North.
Is that Fairways Green? Oh, that's the one across. Okay, I was thinking Evergreen, whatever that one was called.
Legacy.
All right,
Yeah, you're thinking legacy, I think.
Legacy Greens or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Proclamation, accommodations, and certified awards. We have a presentation of the 2022 Isani Ambassador and candidates. And I do know they are in the audience. Good to see you, ladies.
Hello, I'm Gabby Holboy. I was selected in 2019. I think something happened where it made me hang on to this title for a little bit longer. But it's been truly an honor to represent, obviously, the most amazing city in the world, Isani right here, as well as the Rodeo Jubilee Day Festival. Maddie and Shelby are also still here, but unfortunately they couldn't make it tonight. And I would like to invite you, as well as everyone in the audience here, to come to our spaghetti feed this Saturday. It is on the 25th, as well as our coronation in just 19 days on the 10th of July. And I would like to introduce you guys to 2 of our candidates.
I'm Sophia Williams, and I'm a 2022 Isani candidate.
My name is Jocelyn Richter, and I am also running for Isani Ambassador 2022. My sponsor is Sherry Longley Photography.
My sponsor is South Main Dental in Cambridge, Minnesota.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, ladies, for attending. I'll see you June 25th and July 10th, because I'm fat and I like spaghetti, so. And July 10th, because I was asked, so I'll be there. Approving the city council minutes for June 7th, which was a regular meeting of city council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Announcements. City offices will be closed Monday, July 4th, in observation of 4th of July holiday. City council meeting will be Tuesday, July 5th at 7 p.m. with a Economic Development Authority meeting the same day, Tuesday, July 5th, immediately following that council meeting. Any council committee reports?
Unfortunately, I missed the fire district meeting. I get it confused. When that Wednesday falls as the first of the month,
I knew I should have went.
and I thinking, gosh, I didn't see anything, and I missed it. But Al just told me there wasn't really much going on right now, so it's been pretty quiet.
Mayor, I could give an update on the status of the study for putting new communication equipment on the water tower.
Yes.
So I did receive information within the last couple days that the study that was completed by an independent party on behalf of the Sheriff's Department to put the communication equipment on there, we needed to verify that it wouldn't have any kind of interaction negatively with any of the other equipment that we have on there. And we did get the green light that everything should be good, so that'll be moving forward. And the communication company will be pulling a permit for that soon with anticipation of that work being completed when it works out for funding for the county.
Awesome. Any other committee reports? Did we not have negotiations that Councilman Gordon can report on?
Negotiations as far as union?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't say I have anything to report right now.
Okay. All right, I guess we'll move on to business items then. K1, interview applicant, oh, Madison, I'm gonna hack your last name up, so let's not say it, okay? She's interviewing for the vacant Park Recreation and Cultural Board seat.
Hello, it's Madison Masucci.
I would have hacked it.
Yes, no problem. I've lived in Isani for the last 2 years, and I'm excited to potentially get the opportunity to engage with the Parks and Culture Board, so thank you for interviewing me.
Awesome. So they did send you 5 questions, and I'm just gonna simply read those questions, you give me answers, and we'll knock them out one at a time. All right, number 1, what is the Park and Recreation Board's role?
I believe to provide oversight to the city parks operations through reviewing potential projects, discussing current projects and budgetary concerns, as well as serving as a liaison between the public and the city parks department.
Number 2, what is your vision of the park and recreational system for the city?
I think the city of Isani does a great job already with having safe, inclusive, and diverse parks offerings and events. And my vision is to continue that effort and continue to diversify and create increased and enhanced parks and recreation opportunities and continue to maintain those parks for our future generations and ensure as Isanti grows that we're having a forward-thinking mind with our parks and recreation opportunities.
Number 3, do you have any experience in park and recreation or park and recreation member experience?
So my day job is I work for the Minnesota DNR as both a forester and wildland firefighter. My current position with the DNR is to be the Metro Cooperative Forestry Management Forester. So I work pretty closely with different cities and counties throughout the metro area to help their city parks departments to reforest, to manage their forests, and to help work to connect them with different grant funding opportunities as well as different resources. So my background with this working with Parks and Recreation comes from a liaison, kind of working together with them, as well as way back in college, I worked for Madison School and Community Recreation, offering different educational opportunities for a variety of youngsters. So I've had kind of a broad overview with different parks and recreation engagements throughout my career.
Number 4, do you have do you volunteer within the city of Isani community?
Unfortunately, I have not gotten the opportunity to yet. It's something I'm really looking forward to now that I have kind of the time and energy. When we moved here, obviously it was peak COVID, and then last year, so I'm sure many of our firefighters are aware we had kind of a record wildfire season, so I'm now recovered and transitioned in my work and ready to engage with the community, and I'm looking forward to being able to have the time and energy to volunteer with the city of Isani.
And number 5, can you attend evening meetings that start at 6 p.m.?
Yes, I can.
How many years you say you lived here?
2. We moved June of 2020.
I was going to ask you where were you 2 years ago, but you already answered that,
Yes.
so.
Perfect.
Any questions by the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Burgley and a second by Councilman Gordon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Welcome to Park and Rec.
Thank you.
K2, a resolution authorizing the purchase of snowplow truck equipment package. Ms. Wood.
Thank Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council again. So the city council did authorize to purchase a snowplow truck with equipment to replace a 2007 Sterling snowplow within the 2022 CIP budget. Council already had approved the plow truck at the May 3rd city council meeting, and then it was to purchase the equipment package. With unforeseen costs being higher than anticipated, higher than budgeted, the total package is coming in higher than we anticipated by about $47,000. Mr. Becker is here to also speak on behalf of the budgeting that we have for this. It is anticipated that the cost will continue to rise and then hold versus dropping down. Staff's recommendations to move forward and purchase that equipment. Otherwise, we will have a truck that will not be operable for the snowplow season. We likely won't have the snowplow for even this season, but the equipment package would be put together and assembled. So once we did receive the truck, it would be installed very quickly, and then we could get that truck on the road.
Did we not lock this in, Mr. Becker?
No, we started that process at the beginning of the year, and you simply take your state bids, and that took a little longer than normal. Yeah, I think in the past, I think 218 would have been a pretty darn good price, but it is what it is now. And, I would chalk this up as one of those essential expenditures where if we wait, I think we're at greater risk of spending even more next year. So this would be one of those times where I'd recommend we go forward with this purchase, and I'll have to adjust the future capital purchases for plow trucks because I suspect this will be one of those items that is a sticky price that once it goes up, I don't suspect it's going to come back down anytime, not in a quick fashion anyway. So,
Unfortunately, all vehicles have been a nightmare.
well, I thought when we discussed this in May, we were talking about a truck that was like 1990 something that we were talking about replacing. Is that right, or was?
It is it is 2007. Matt, Mr. Sylvester did put it in the memo here.
But is
That is the oldest truck that we have, though.
Okay,
Yes.
but it's not operable right now, or can we get by for a while with that truck, or? Because that's what I thought. We talked about it, and we thought it was really, really old. 2007's old, but it's not like ancient.
I know that they have made quite a few repairs to that truck, and it is one of those trucks that is finicky, and it does take someone with skill to be able to operate it. Okay. And they have been, I don't know if limping it along is the correct terminology, but they have been making it work as long as they feel that
That's
they
probably
could.
the same truck we were talking about then.
It is the same truck.
We might have just had the year wrong or something then. Yeah, and the upside to the plow truck prices being high is that when we do go to sell the 2007 at auction, we will fetch a higher price that will offset. That'll go back into Fund 920, and that would offset that 47,000. I'm sure it won't be enough to cover the 47, but it'll cover some portion of that.
Any other questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
I see Councilman Lundin's wheels moving here.
I'm looking at something else.
Okay. Motion to approve by Councilman Brigley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lundin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Anything in the consent agenda we need to discuss, gentlemen?
Oh, I still have
Item
an
number
item.
3.
Special event permit.
Oh, yeah. Item number 3. How am I even skipping that most important one? K3 is a resolution approving a special event permit for the 2022 ICNE firefighters I'm having issues today. PRCA Rodeo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. ICNE Firefighters Rodeo Association has submitted a special event permit to host their annual event on the Rodeo Association grounds, July 9th and 10th. No road closures are being requested, but slow crossing sign on 3rd and 1st Avenue are being requested, as well as possible orange traffic cones for the crosswalk between ICNT Primary School and Unity Park. Additional parking will be needed for the event. A map was included with the event request. The use of the parking at the following locations is being requested: at ICNT Primary School, Unity Park, Park Ball Field, and the BMX Blacktop Grass area. The ICNT Firefighters Rodeo Grounds and the west side of the Police Fire Station Grass. City staff did discuss the use of the BMX blacktop and grass area for parking, and due to the use agreement we have with BMX, would recommend against the use of those parking areas, just because we're not sure what's happening at that location. If there's practices, they technically have the rights to those spaces during the time. We also require paid parking during their events that the BMX hosts there, so we would have to do something more in line with that, we feel. An outdoor audio system will be used for the announcer of the rodeo for both days, as well as a live band on both Friday and Saturday nights. 5 additional restrooms will be brought in. The complete application and all department heads did approve. They're asking for a waiver request or waiver fee, waiver of the fees for $100 cleanup deposit and the $50 temporary sign permit application fee. They are also requesting to waive the proof of written notification to property owners within 350 feet of the event, as they are heavily advertising this large event on social media, paper flyers, radio station signs, and parade trucks.
So I'm assuming you gentlemen are representing the rodeo. So if one of you would step up to the podium, and I'm glad it's going to be you, Eric, because I'm going to say welcome home and thanks for your service, first and foremost. Second of all, you and I had a discussion last year.
Yep.
That discussion is that BMX grassy area, why, he made common sense to me, it was in my mind, that he needed more space to put horses so they could potentially gain more parking, correct?
We're going to park more cars, and we're just expanding, so we need to move things around.
And as everybody knows, the rodeo the past few years, well, last year was the first year we got to do it again, was, okay, that'll be PG. What I was going to say would have been worse, but very busy. I mean, it was keisters and elbows. There we go. I'll keep it PG, because I go to it every year. I love that event. We're saying we couldn't do something like that to where we could corral these horses in the BMX grassy area and potentially, I mean, we've shut off First Avenue for Kids Day. Why couldn't we do that?
We do have a use agreement with the BMX,
So let's ask the BMX.
and that would be the right way to go about it. It'd be their permission, but we do require them to pay for parking for their events. They pay the city for parking during their events, and maybe Mr.
Yeah.
Becker can speak more to that.
Yeah, so the basic premise on that is that we share in the revenues on the parking for the BMX. And the underlying thought there was that no matter how you do things in that grassy area, there's going to be some damage to that turf. And,
Which they're willing to repair it.
well, but for the BMX, that was how that came, is that we collect that money, that helps offset costs for Public Works to repair that turf. So
Also, the
council can certainly take whatever action they'd like, but.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, we had that discussion. You were willing to repair it if anything was damaged or
Yep, so
dirtied?
we park in the ball field there, Bluebird Park, the school, all the grassy areas, and we go through, we pick up trash, we make sure, we did have a little overflow with some horses last year, we picked that up, we make sure everything's clean and neat before we leave.
Which I was there, and it was a bear for you to get those horses out of there.
Yep.
Which I kind of feel like the area you're talking about would be much easier.
Is it this year, we're planning to put the horses in the same spot as last year, but we're just asking to expand the area if we're gonna need that for parking cars this year.
How do you really think that's going to go, gentlemen?
I think it'll go good.
My suggestion would be to you for the BMX area over there, since that is in cooperation with the city, even though it's city-owned land, would be to get their permission.
And if they gave you permission, I would charge right at it. And I wasn't, when we had that discussion, I wasn't aware of what Stephanie is enlightening me on now, but I like your idea.
Mayor, I
think-
do believe that, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe maybe it was in 2018, it was requested to use that grassy area, and I think that at that time it was said yes with paying for use similar to the BMX, but at that time, I don't believe the Rodeo Association wanted to move forward with that. So I think staff would just need clarification if it was going to be permitted by council, if there would be a payment thing for it. As Ms. Hillside mentioned, if it would be like the BMX or different.
I thought that whole BMX parking fees originally were to maintain the parking lot, because they did not want to purchase the parking lot when they purchased the building. That was the whole object behind the parking fees, so that we could recoup some of the repairs and everything to the parking lot, because they did not want the parking lot asphalted. That was that original dilemma on the parking fees. It was nothing to do with the grass. The grass, they come into us and ask if they can park campers on it. I know that for a fact. So what's the parking lot itself is what that, if there was a representative from the BMX here, they would probably be 100% right behind me on this. That parking lot was, the fees for the parking lot was for us to recoup maintaining and trying to pay for that parking lot.
It is possible, you're correct, but I do think that it was a secondary agreement for the grass area that came into play later on, for it to be able to do the campers and such.
But as far as I'm concerned, if they're willing to repair the grass, I have no problem with that. But the parking and the BMX, that you'd have to take up with them, because we do have an agreement with them on parking.
So the grassy area is the city's?
As far as I'm concerned,
Property.
as far as I know as it is.
You can approve that today, but not the blacktop tonight, okay.
In the way I understand it, yes.
What about driving, to get to the grassy area, we'd have to drive through the blacktop, I think.
There's no other entry in there?
There is a path that comes off of that southern parking lot that they can drive up and then go through the trees, but I don't know if, it might be a tight squeeze to get in a horse trailer to that. I think if you're parking cars, it'd be less of an issue. But I think that when it was proposed before by the Rodeo Association, was to come up and put a ramp on the curb line and right on First Avenue there, kind of south of that south parking lot, and go up the curb, if I recall correctly of how you guys proposed it last time. Is that right?
And I'm only gonna lean on him because he has kids in it. Do you recall any event, Chief, on July 8th or 9th? The reason I'm asking this is, I think it would be worth going to talk to them. I mean, what's the worst they're gonna say but no? You know what I mean?
Most likely not.
There's no event? So there's no event. We're not disrupting their business.
But it's only in good taste for you to go to them.
At least go and ask.
And
you know,
I wouldn't want to say, yes, you can use it, and then we have a riff with them.
Yeah, I don't wanna see that happen
That's
either.
that's a whole nother gamut.
But I think it'd be worth it.
And that's the same for the grassy area too?
The grassy area
The grassy area would be this council.
We can do that here. Okay.
yes, because if you remember right, the Wake Park was in there, and that was, we gathered this whole thing for them, and then we had to fill that hole in. So that grassy area belongs to the city. I'm almost 120% confident that parking lot fees were to pay for the parking lot. And I think
Maintenance.
we've also told them that if they park campers and everything out there, that they have to repair it.
That is true.
But they do collect, when they want to use the grassy area, they do go to Mr. Becker and they get tickets, and half the sales they get to keep and half the sales get given to the city of Isani.
But that's because they're asking for more land to use for parking. The grass area is
Parking campers, essentially.
parking campers and essentially, and that was kind of the agreement we came upon. I just assume we got rid of all that with the BMX, if we could somehow ever figure out how we can get out of that whole mess with them anyway. I mean, but then that opens up a lot of variances.
Different conversation.
Yes.
For a different date.
Different day. But as far as I'm concerned, the grassy area is the city's. It's always has been the city's, because that BMX is built in park dedicated land. So the grass is ours, the road, the parking lot, that's why the parking fees came in. And that's also why I think that BMX also went along with paying for parking in there, or camping, so that they can help try to get some more money out of this thing. I think the grass is the city's. It's nothing to do with the BMX. The parking fees go 100%, because of paying for that parking lot.
And I did not realize the blacktop was a separate, that's why it was in the permit, so.
In closing First Ave, we do it for Kids Day. We don't close the park, but we close up to a certain point to where it would be safe for essentially their horses and riders to cross there, so it would be a safety thing.
They've always closed that off right there anyway, because that's
During the rodeo?
Are you requesting to close it?
No, but I'm saying,
Oh,
I think it'd
okay.
be a good idea that if you were gonna use this grassy area, that you close that little section down so they can safely cross First Ave.
Yep, and we have some signs that we're.
because they've always closed that off by Brian's installation going out, because that's contestants' entrance, so they didn't want a bunch of people driving in there. Right? Isn't
that
that
true?
First Avenue?
I don't remember contestants ever going in and out of there. Right, but what I'm saying is if we're gonna use that grassy area, it would be a good idea for you to ask for that. It would be a safety issue, and my thought would be. So I think it'd be worth you to go talk to BMX and see if you could. The grassy area is city property, so.
Staff would just request that if the council wants to approve the permit with the condition of allowing them to also use that grassy area south of the Isani Indoor Arena at no cost to the association for doing so, with a permitting him to enter that area as deemed appropriate. I would just ask that you add that to your approval, to your motion.
What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Absolutely, I'm fine with it. I think it's absolutely, and if they're gonna be willing to go out and repair the grass.
Which we had that conversation. You said if anything was damaged, you were more than willing to go out and fix it, correct?
Yep, we treat it just like
Every other
space
piece.
that we use. Yep, all the park, and, it's cleaned up and neat when we're done.
This is gonna be easier for that association, for more people to get in and out of it, so be
But
it.
I can't honestly give you permission to park in the BMX parking lot.
Oh, that's fine.
You have to
You'd
go
have
talk
to go
to
to
them.
them.
Or even entering it. There is a different way in there, but I think it'd be worth at least going and asking them.
But I think I would ask them and see what they said. All they can do is say no.
With the additives, if we wanna let them use the grassy area and close down, First Ave partially. Chief, are you okay with that? I'm totally missing my public safety aspect to this.
Well, it depends on how you're gonna close down First Avenue. If it's gonna
Well, just like we do on Kids Day, we close it right in that little Steph, you have to tell me if I'm wrong or right, but right at the,
For a Splish Splash Summer Bash, we
Yeah.
do close off two ends of it
yeah.
where the parking
I'm not
is.
closing, we're not closing the park, but we're closing,
No, I just wanna make sure that you can still get vehicles through there.
well, if it's an emergency vehicle, I'm pretty sure they would comply.
But if you close a road, that's different than closing the road and putting things on the road.
So this year, we're just planning on putting cars in there. No horses. We're gonna keep the horses where they were last year.
So you wanna put cars on the grassy area?
Just parking cars. It'll be a lot easier, a lot,
But you're not asking to close down First Avenue either,
nope,
right?
not right now.
Okay. So all we need is permission for them to use the grassy area.
So we're a motion
To approve the event permit with the addition of letting them use the grassy area.
With the requirement that they will repair any,
Yes.
okay, just making sure I
Absolutely.
add it to the resolution.
I make a motion that we approve everything as such as requested, with the stipulation that they repair any of the grassy area. They also seek permission from the BMX about going through that parking lot or whatever.
Otherwise, there's another way in
Another
there.
can of
At no
worms too,
cost.
so. What's
We
that?
don't,
At no cost, right?
Yes.
No fee.
As long as they're
Yes,
gonna
and
pay
no-
for
and
the
eliminate
fixing.
the fees. I mean, let's all face it, this rodeo has been a staple to this
It's
community.
busting at the seams, that's for sure.
It's been a staple to this community, and I think a lot of people look forward to this weekend.
I do.
And it's a huge asset to the city, so I almost even hate to have you guys come in and ask for this stuff, to be honest with you.
I concur.
But it's a formality we have to do, so, But that's my motion.
Motion to approve the event permit with the addition of using the grassy area by BMX by Councilman Lundin, and a second by Councilman Burgley.
And to repair.
And to repair at no cost to the city, you guys only, if anything
And to
is
ask for
damaged.
permission to use.
And don't forget to ask permission to use the BMX parking lot, if need be,
And is that, I'm also including waiving the fees.
and waiving the fees. We forgot that part. Did I-
Not closing
Did I
First
get it all,
Avenue.
Miss Wood?
Mayor, I believe you did. Thank you to Mayor and Council for that.
All right, seconded by Councilman Burgley. Anything else we needed to add?
Staff will be modifying the resolution, include those new decisions on there, and then we will process for signature.
Awesome. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now,
Thanks, Eric, for your service, man.
it's tough. I got a 38-and-a-half-year Army veteran for a father, and every time he went away, boy, it broke my heart.
You know my son, Cody Kwame. Yeah, now he's staff sergeant. He's out of St. Paul, so he is no longer deployable.
Not like you, when you have to leave your children, and that's a heartbreaker. So thank you 100 times over. Anything in the consent agenda we need to discuss, gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lundin and a second by Councilman Burgley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Anything else we have, Ms. Wood? Oh, yeah, we did it with the addendum too.
Yep.
Anything else we have to add?
That is all. Thank
Motion
you.
to adjourn. I got that.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Burgley and a
Second.
second by Councilman Lundin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Therefore, we stand adjourned.